The SEC task group will lead the roundtable discussion on tokenization today at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. BlackRock, Fidelity, and NASDAQ are among the companies that will be part of the group. Paul Atkins, head of the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, will give the opening statement, which will be about tokenizing assets. I'm really looking forward to finding out what it is. Obviously, when these kinds of meetings happen, they're not usually televised live for everyone to see. I'm basing my opinion on what we've seen in the past. Does that have a chance of happening again at this time? Do you think people will know about the news? There will be things that are seen, but look at these well-known names. After you talk about these well-known names, I think they're interested in other digital stuff or traded funds. BlackRock and Fidelity are expected to send in ETFs. I'm pretty sure about it. It makes me think of the early days of Bitcoin and Ethereum. I think the same thing will happen with XRP and other digital assets. And it's also possible that index will start running. On the other hand, if you own XRP, you are welcome to return to the Crypto 6 market. They love all of you so much. I'm thankful that you have done everything as we speak. Looking at the markets this morning on Monday, we can see that they are starting to pick up speed. On the other hand, Bitcoin experienced a slight slowdown on Sunday, which caused the prices of several coins to slightly revert back to their previous levels. There was a slight rise in dominance, which caused the values of several coins to decrease. Despite this, it is clear that things are once again getting worse. If you look at the market for the past hour, it looks like it is starting to pick up speed again. Also, the price of additional P is $2.40 right now, which is a loss of 0.3% Bitcoin, but a 0.5% rise in worth in the US. The price has gone up to more than $140 billion, 0 cents, or $143 billion, 0 cents to be exact. There are $4 billion, 0 cents worth of trades every 24 hours. Before we go any further, I want to make it very clear that nothing on this channel should be taken as financial advice. If you want to invest money in cryptocurrency, you should always do your own research, just like you would with any other investment. A few years ago, you could have bought 5 times as much RP for just $1, 0 cents. Now it costs $12, 0 cents, which is a tenfold or more increase from what it does now. Prices will be 100 times higher. It's easier to say than to do. And I'm not going to argue that it isn't possible, especially when an exchange-traded fund ETF is introduced. Obviously, a 100-fold increase won't happen overnight. You already know that it's going to take some time. However, those wild price changes aside, I think that the price of XRP will soon reach double digits. And this is something that many people don't think about much, but I think it will happen sooner than you think if big money starts coming in and the ETF is passed. In more and more systems, it's important to remember that XRP, the native token used for liquidity, is the most important part of the XRP ledger. This will always be the case when the filing for an exchange-traded fund, ETF, is approved. Big names and institutions will want to keep these digital goods. Much attention will be paid to the real use case, which is that it is changing the way we do business. This is what we have heard based on current information. Don't forget how important it is to have clear standards for regulators. I think this will help XRP a lot. About Chad's behavior is really great. If you have any thoughts on this, please share them below. In the meantime, take a look at this week. In spite of the fact that only 3,150 Bitcoins are produced every day, BlackRock and IBIT were able to buy 10,570 Bitcoins. Remember what I told you? Every day we see an unprecedented amount of Bitcoins being added to the channel, while the ones that are being consumed are less. And let me tell you something, the quantity is definitely higher than the demand. As you may expect, the price, which is the hash payment, will be lowered by an additional 50% when the next event happens. Over time, mining Bitcoin will become harder. It's also important to know that your goal will eventually come true. this desire is growing, and people are buying as much Bitcoin as they can because they know where it's going. They know that this is an asset with a long term. Big companies like BlackRock won't buy it in the next month, 6 months, or 12 months because they'll be getting paid over a long period of time. However, it's clear that these big companies aren't ignoring it. As of today, the United States and China have signed a major trade agreement in Geneva after 2 days of high-level negotiations. Tomorrow, more information will be released, but it's pretty clear that Donald Trump said that, and this is a really important point, if some kind of settlement is announced, I think Bitcoin will reach a new all-time high, and other cryptocurrencies may also start to go crazy. In my opinion, this is very important news. You know that traditional markets are closed on the weekends, which is something that a lot of people forget or don't take into account. Let's wait and see how the stock market reacts to the news. The fact that the numbers are already green before the market opens means that so far everything is going well. What I see here is quite appealing to me, so make sure you check out what Zoom has to say. I should say that it has only just begun on TV, but after watching it, a lot of people will feel stupid for leaving earlier than they should have. I agree with this because even though it has gone down a bit over the last 3 or 4 days, control is still quite high in the big picture. If the numbers go back to where they were at the beginning of the year, we will be thrilled. That's exactly what happened at the start of the year. Finally, we talked about the money supply in the M2 market yesterday. Chad says that Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies have a positive link with the global money supply over the course of 100 days. Some people think that Bitcoin's value could reach up to $100,000, which you may already know. It wouldn't surprise me if it did, but it is a really cool connection chart that I missed. Raoul Powell, on the other hand, deserves praise because he really made it clear to everyone that this chart is really, let's take a look at this power so you can judge it for yourself. There was a brief rise in dominance, but it quickly fell back, which led to an even bigger surge for other cryptocurrencies. When you look at Bitcoin, I did talk about this topic in my H bar, and of course I also mentioned it in a post on Pepe. As you know, Bitcoin is starting to show signs of a range market. Of course, you know that we have tried to break out of the 105,000 barrier several times, but have been unsuccessful each time. However, things are looking great so far, and if they keep going this way, we will soon reach an all-time high.